Well, there we have it. Welcome in. Certainly glad to have you with us here tonight. We have a great program coming up, a number of programs coming up tonight. So we're looking forward to you guys staying with us. We'll be opening the lines and you guys can ask questions. And all you people who are listening in now, if you're a Jehovah's Witness listening in here tonight for the first time, don't go running off on us. Really, stay with us. You're going to be hearing things maybe you never heard before. But just like myself, when I was getting out of the witnesses, I didn't want to believe anything negative or critical that we heard about the witnesses. But I want you to stay in here with us and you research what you hear being said here tonight on JW World News or anything else that's said here tonight on the Six Screens Tele Network. You just look it up, Google it. Don't be afraid. You know, really, witnesses, and I was too. I was afraid to look things up. But boy, I'm so glad I did. So anyways, my name's Rick Farron, and I'm coming to you from the apostate capital of the world. Well, that's right up here in Boston, Massachusetts, and we have good company. We got a lot of apostates up here. So we hope someday that where you live, there'll be a lot of apostates too. I know people write to me and say, Rick, you know, I'm jealous. I'd love to have some apostates in my neck of the woods. Don't you worry, they're coming. I'm telling you right now, it's only a matter of time. We are seeing the Watchtower crumble. And what's going to happen to all the witnesses when the Watchtower crumbles? Well, maybe they won't be known as apostates, but they're certainly going to be looking for answers, right? They're going to say, what happened? They're going to be in a state of shock. So they're going to be checking stuff out online, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or wherever they're looking. So, I mean, there's going to be a lot of apostates, a lot of people that have left the Watchtower coming to where you live as well. So anyways, I'm so glad you're with us. We have got a lot of stories to talk about tonight, but I'm going to we'll get into it in just a little bit here about the memorial. Every year for like 15, 16 years, actually 16, I believe this year, we've been going down to the Wilmington, Massachusetts Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses and doing a protest, putting our boots on the ground right in front of the Kingdom Hall. And we did it again this year. We were there, and it was good. I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm so excited. I couldn't sleep for 2 nights. I could not sleep for 2 nights. I could not believe everything that took place. But I'll share that with you. We'll do that in just a few minutes. But I wanted to bring this story up tonight because it's very much in the news all over the place. You might have saw it. You know, all these countries, we're talking about numerous countries and states here in the United States that are coming down on the Watchtower. And you guys have probably been seeing it too, but I've been following all of this. You know, one time we didn't have any governments really picking on the witnesses. They were getting away with murder, so to speak. Everything the witnesses wanted, the government gave them. They did, up until now. Now the governments around the world are very suspicious of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and why shouldn't they be? Their image is tarnished. That's all you see on the news about Jehovah's Witnesses. You do Google News alerts, Jehovah's Witnesses. There's nothing positive in there. Once in a while, they give a little puff piece, a little propaganda, telling you how wonderful the organization is and how great everyone's looking forward to going to the conventions this summer. But that's all puff piece. But I came across this story. It really got me thinking this week. And it has to do with England. Now, England, they had an independent inquiry into child sexual abuse. They call it IICSA, Independent Inquiry into Child Sexual Abuse. Well, just this week, just last Thursday, they now are going to be coming down heavy on anyone in England and Wales that is covering up child sex abuse, that is involved in dealing with children. They're going to be watching them like a hawk. So that is very good. And the woman who kind of heads up the independent inquiry, her name is Suler Braverman. And boy, she has much to say about what's going on in her country. and she is ticked mostly at guess who? The Watchtower. Boy, I'll tell you. I mean, there's a lot of organizations. You got the Boy Scouts, you got a lot of religions in England, but they seem to be more ticked and more upset with the Watchtower Society than any of the other organizations. They think it's horrific and deeply disturbing what the Watchtower organization has been doing and getting away with it for many years. So she's saying that they now have a burning desire, that is the government, the authorities in England and Wales, to be able to bring justice to all of those that have been hurt by religious organizations. So, you know, when you're talking child sex abuse, it's not just ministers and pastors and elders. There's other, you know, organizations as well that have been known to take advantage of children. You know, you have school teachers, social workers are seeing that this is taking place in the Boy Scouts, Little League teams, sporting teams. So it's pretty widespread, not only in England, but right around the world. The point that I'm trying to make with this whole thing, she mentions all of these different organizations that could be at risk in having molesters in them, but she primarily focuses on ministers. Man, what is going on in the religions of the world with the ministers and pastors and the elders and the Jehovah's Witness organization really taking advantage of all these little children is really, really bad. So she's going to overhaul the system. So thank you very much for wanting to do that. So it's the Jehovah's Witness organization. She was saying in this newspaper report I was reading out of England, she said that, and she mentioned it specifically, boy, the people, I mean, look at the tarnished image Jehovah's Witnesses are getting. And so she mentioned right in this big time, it wasn't in the Mirror, but I think it was in the Guardian. It's a big newspaper in London, right? So anyways, what she was saying is the more reports seem to be coming in on Jehovah's Witnesses. She says she didn't mention how many, but she says there's a considerable number of child molesters in the Jehovah's Witnesses. And then of course, the elders or the branch office over in England, they come forth with a statement in the paper. Jehovah's Witnesses insisted that congregation elders were not shielded from abuse and that the organization had robust child protection policies. Do you see? I got excited when I read this. And if you're an elder listening into this program tonight, you better start heading for the exit door at the Kingdom Hall. You better really step down, because here it is right in print. The Jehovah's Witness organization is insisting that congregation elders are not shielded from abuse. In other words, they're admitting they do it. And if they're doing it, according to the Watchtower here, they're not following the organization's robust child protection policies. There's no such thing as a robust child protection policy protecting children in the Jehovah's Witnesses. But you can see, elders, you're going to be thrown right under the bus. I would say start looking for the exit door, and there are. That's what I've been finding out as I've been going through the news this week. All kinds of elders all around the world are giving in. They're throwing the towel in. They've had enough. So, I just want to prepare the elders for a windfall of lawsuits that will be coming against the Watchtower and perhaps even you. So the Watchtower is aware of this. So I wanted to bring that up tonight because I'm going to tell you, England now joins a number of countries. Let's just name a few. Norway, well, they're upset with the witnesses. They don't like the witness shunning policy, as well as they're covering up child abuse. How about Belgium? Oh boy, Belgium, that's nice. They're having all kinds of trouble. They don't like the Jehovah's Witnesses in Belgium. They're doing all kinds of things that are going against Belgium law. And the Belgian government is very vocal about it. They don't like the shunning. They don't like the covering up of child molestation. Well, there's other countries too. I mean, there's even right now, Canada is starting to investigate the witnesses. But we also have Sweden. Did you know in Sweden also they're having problems? The Jehovah's Witnesses in Denmark and Sweden, both countries are investigating the witnesses. This is starting to spread like wildfire. Don't you feel good about that? Don't you finally start to feel, boy, we're getting some points on the scoreboard here. The witnesses are not getting away with all of this. But let's just talk about states. There's a number of states that are really coming down now on the Jehovah's Witnesses. Can I name some? Yeah, I can name them. How about Pennsylvania? In Pennsylvania right now, there's a big time investigation by the Attorney General's Department, and she is looking into she's a woman, and she's looking into all of the sex abuse cover-ups in congregations in Pennsylvania. From what I understand, there's a little over 500 congregations in the state of Pennsylvania. And she now is ordering each congregation to come forth with their records concerning child cover-up, child molestation cover-up. She wants to see them all. So that's coming up. So if you're an elder in Pennsylvania, you got to be sweating bullets. You have to be. Why wouldn't you be? And you know, in one thing, if anyone's listening in, I don't know if the Attorney General is or not. I wouldn't think so. But, you know, maybe they monitor programs like this to see if what they're investigating has some more legs on it. But I'm just going to say this, that if you guys would check, you know, they're telling the elders in Pennsylvania, do not destroy any records. If you destroy any records, it's going to be a prison sentence. They made that quite clear. But the thing I want the state of Pennsylvania to know, and I'm really thinking of perhaps even writing. I should have done it already, I guess. But I'd like to write the Attorney General and tell her, you know, just don't check the Kingdom Halls, because a lot of the COBIs, you know, that's the coordinating elder, the head guy in the congregation. He brings those records. He doesn't keep them. A lot of those COBIs don't leave the records of child abuse in the Kingdom Hall. They take them home because they don't want any publishers kind of sneaking around and finding them. So, you know, you gotta, you know, they also have to ask these elders when they come into court under oath, are all the records here or some at your house? I really would like to see an answer to that. So we're so glad that Pennsylvania is looking at the witnesses. We also have Illinois. Man, they had their problems out there all last year, remember, with the elders covering up child molestation in Crystal Lake. And also the state of Washington now, man, they are also getting a little hot under the collar about Jehovah's Witnesses. So, you know, the states as well. So we have allies. It's wonderful to know that we have allies that are fighting with us. All right, let's take a look and see what else is going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. Boy, I have to tell you, I had a rockin' awesome night, Memorial Night at the Kingdom Hall. And like I say, we go down to Kingdom Hall every time the memorial's up once a year, and we put our boots on the ground, as I say. We generally we've had as many as 23 people come with us and protest. This week it wasn't a lot of protesters with us. One of the persons that usually comes with us came down with COVID, and then there was some other issues with some other people, so we couldn't really get all the people we wanted. But I don't care if I was there just by myself. I get a good feeling, and you know, it's hard. How do you convey a feeling? You know, I mean, that's one of the most difficult things in the world of humankind. How do you really convey a feeling? For example, I mean, a woman, they have babies. A man will never understand what that's like. The woman can talk to the man about it till she's blue in the face, but he'll never understand what carrying a baby is like. There's certain things in life that you can't connect. But I'm going to tell you something. The only way I can explain standing in front of a Kingdom Hall, did you ever get what they call an adrenaline rush? It's just such a good feeling. Your whole body just feels like, man, I am energized. Well, that's exactly how you feel, because, you know, it's just, there's something that goes on when you stand in front of a Kingdom Hall or a convention or assembly. It's all of this inward feelings about one of the most evil organizations on the planet. It seems like you're letting it loose. It seems like it's just flowing out of you. And it just makes you feel so good. Well, I got that feeling again, once again on it would have been on Tuesday night. That, of course, would be April 4th. And, that's the biggest night of the year. That's the Super Bowl of Jehovah's Witness events. That is it. It's a big time. Everyone looks forward to it. And I'm going to play some little clips here that I do have of the memorial. But I just wanted to talk a little bit about it and just what I observed. And then we'll get to the footage here that I do have concerning the memorial. But anyways, what I noticed right off the bat is you want to talk about an organization that really makes a showy display of themselves. That's the Jehovah's Witnesses on Memorial Night. Really, I drove in, friends, and I couldn't believe it. It's a nice Kingdom Hall, and it's not like, poverty city, and it's not like, rich city either, but it's middle of the road, upper income, middle class neighborhood, I would say. So anyways, I'm driving down the street. I couldn't believe what I saw parked in front of the Kingdom Hall. A Bentley, a new Bentley. Do you know what that is? That is, sometimes people are kind of shy to buy a Rolls Royce because, they don't want to make too much of themselves. They don't want to see people seeing them in a Rolls Royce. But a Bentley is a lower version of a Rolls Royce. Many people buy a Bentley because they don't want to have the feeling of, here I am, see me. But here I see this Bentley. And I couldn't believe it. I even said to the people that came to the protest, look at that. Well, look, I haven't seen a Bentley for years, seriously. And this was a new one. I mean, it was beautiful. So I looked it up online when I came home because I was curious. I don't know. I knew they started at like $200,000 and went up. But anyways, I looked up the Bentley, and it was the Bentley Spur, they call it, S-P-U-R, Spur. So anyways, they started about $280,000 and they go up over $300,000. So we got this car parked in front. I don't know. It could have been Jeffrey Jackson. It could have been a big official from the Watchtower, or it just might have been the account servant in the Kingdom Hall. I don't know, but I mean but look at, when I was a witness, and even after I could have got a beautiful car. I could have bought a brand new Cadillac at one point, and you guys could have too. But don't you think it would be a little ostentatious? But this, getting back to the showy display. So anyways, it reminds me of the Academy Awards. And you see all these women, they're all dressed up. They got makeup on. They look good. They got the high heels on, and they're walking down the street, and the men look good. They get their polished shoes. They get their nice suit on, the haircut. So they look good. It's packaged good. But this is a big night. This is a showy display. And they really want to, here I am. And boy, I'll tell you, I couldn't even believe, never mind that Bentley. Well, what about, there's so many other beautiful cars. I don't know if the Jehovah's Witnesses getting richer every day. I don't know what's going on, but boy, there were a lot of beautiful cars there. And I just was so amazed to see all those nice cars, because in the past, a lot of the witnesses would drive old clunkers and bombers, and that was it. But boy, I'll tell you, they're really coming up in the world. It really surprised me. But yeah, showy display. And even before I get into our little video here, people have always asked me why I protest. Well, before I even get into that, let me just say what happened. So I did get a permit. I got a permit from the Wilmington Police Department, Massachusetts, and I get it every year, so they know I'm there. But 3 hours before I went to protest, I got a call from the Wilmington Police Department. And they said that they were concerned about us protesting, and there's no problem. We have the right to do it. But they didn't feel comfortable. Somehow they must have been alerted or whatever. But they wanted to send an armed detective, police detective, to watch over us. So that got me a little nervous. I said, gee, maybe something's going on that I'm not aware of, because I mean, we did have the killings and the shooting over in Hamburg, right? And we have been hearing a lot about witnesses, getting killed and stabbed and shot, and parking lot skirmishes and everything else. So now they want to send an undercover cop down. He said he'd be hiding out in the woods. He says, you won't see me, but I'll be there. So, wow, it made me a little nervous, made my wife a little nervous, but she made her feel better because she was a little bit nervous about me going there in the first place. And I can understand why. So anyways, we went down, set up all it takes us like 2 hours to set everything up. I mean, it's a real sideshow, friends. We got banners, I've got cameras, and the quality of the video didn't come out as great as I wanted. There was a dog barking and had some issues with sound, but that always happens when you're on the road doing these things. But anyways, I'm there and getting everything set up. We just started to film, and the people coming in, and I see this man walking down the street. And I did not know who he was, and he kept coming closer and closer, but there was a lot of things running through my head. I could think, could this guy be a shooter? Could he be coming to bump me off? I never recognized the guy. And he keeps coming closer and walking to me. Are you Rick Ferrin? And what do I say? I don't know if this guy's a shooter. I don't know, but he looked kind of like one of my customers that I do sign work for. But I'm saying, why would he be here? He's not even connected to the witnesses. And then I thought it might have been the detective that the Wilmington police and they were sending down to me. So anyways, he's coming closer and closer, and I'm getting ready to really take a beeline behind the van if he starts pulling a revolver out, but he didn't. He said, Rick Ferrin. He says, I listen to your program all the time. And he says, I'm here. I drove up from New Jersey. Now, let me give you an idea. New Jersey is like 4 hours away. It doesn't even border Massachusetts. But he drove all the way up to be with us. And I thought that was wonderful. So his name is Miguel. And we certainly appreciate Miguel coming up and being with us. So that was amazing. Hey, let me pull up this video. And let's see if we can't get you to see it. I'm just going to share a screen here. So let me pull this up, and we'll be able to let you see exactly what's going on here. I just want to go, let me just go down here, scroll down to where I put my notes. All right. So what we're going to do, I'm going to show you the video. So we'll make sure the sound and everything is on. And I'll start the video off at about 21:20 in. No, I don't think I'll even go that far. I think I'll start right in the beginning. Well, take a look here anyways, and then see what you think. This is us at the Kingdom Hall, and I'll just put this on now. I'll put the volume on so you guys can hear it okay. And let's start sharing it right now. Hold on. Let me just make sure we got this right. It just takes a little bit to do here, but we'll get it. Let's see. All right, let's share it right now. All right. Little sound issue there, but just hang in. You can see the sign. See the sign? What do you think of those signs? You hear a dog barking in the background, but just hang in there. Yep. Well, hello, everyone. Well, I'll just tell you what we're doing here. There's a sign. You guys can see them if you're on YouTube, and that's the Kingdom Hall right in front of us. And that's the hall I went to myself. That's where they just fellowshipped me in 2005. And you can see some of these signs. Where's Tony? The Australia Royal Commission. There's me behind the electronic sign we have there as well. So, yeah, so we were making a big splash. People could definitely see us down there. So I think that was amazing that we were able to get that type of footage going. So people were stopping and reading the signs. That's what's really amazing about it all. I couldn't believe they were doing it, but they were. And there was a number of women, Jehovah's Witness sisters, that at least 4 of them, they drove up on nice SUVs, and right in front of the sun, they stopped in front of the signs, and they were reading the one with all the child molesters on it. So, and I tried to stop one of them and talk to me, but she wouldn't. But they wanted to get a look at those pictures. One of those signs, I had a bunch of late news people that have just been revealed on the news about them committing pedophilia in the organization. So it was very timely, let's put it that way. You can see the cars coming in. Now, there wasn't a lot of cars at all. That's what really amazed me. Now, normally, that street that you're looking at, there would be cars on both sides of the street. As a matter of fact, even parked right up next to where you see our banners. But that was not the case the other night. As a matter of fact, the attendance looked very much, well, I don't think I ever seen it that low, to be honest with you. I don't think the parking lot was even full. So there's the parking lot in back of the Kingdom Hall. But this is about, a lot of the witnesses seem to be coming in late. Usually they would get there very, very early, like around 6:30. But many of the witnesses came in real late. Sunset was at 7:14. But, they wanted everyone in by 7, but they really weren't. People were kept coming. And what was really of interest to me is that even some of the people, they would give us kind of a funny look, some going by, but most of them, they were willing to look and read the signs. Let me just scroll ahead here and see what we can bring up. Well, there I am. I'm talking to, that's Miguel there. That's me. You can see in the background. And let's just go forward here and see what we do have. See if you can see those. Well, basically, it's all the same. And we actually partook too. I wanted to do that. We didn't make it a preaching night, but I wanted to let people know. Here I am standing in front of the sign. We had the electronic sign. And we had a 3-hour program down there. And it was about 40, 45 degrees, so it wasn't that cold. But we really enjoyed ourselves. Let me fast forward and show you some other things we did. Yep. So there we are there. There was a house behind us, and there's a dog in that house, and he was barking, and he was driving us all crazy. So anyways, let's move forward here and see what else we got. But I want to show you near the end here something that I think you'll find very fascinating, as I did. We had a lot of people driving by, leaving the Kingdom Hall. And as the cars were going by, well, let me see if we can't start this right here. So you see the cars going by. So I was able to, see them and look in the window. And what was really, really neat is there were a lot of people this time around that were really watching what we were doing. And like I say, reading the signs. And I could look in the window of these cars going by. And one car went by, had 3 brothers in it. They all had shirt and tie on. And they beeped the horn. They were in a blue truck like that. And they beeped the horn and were smiling and agreeing with us. And also 2 young women. They also went by and they looked at us and they smiled and they shook their head up and down. So they were in agreement with what we were doing. So that was our night at the Kingdom Hall. So let's stop sharing that right there. And boy, I'll tell you, it really went over really, really well. I'm glad that we were able to do it. And I thank those that came and protested with us. Now, some people will ask me, Rick, why do you protest? And, I have to tell you, there was one thing, and there's a number of reasons why I protest. I hear so many ugly stories. And, not too long ago, a woman called me late at night. It was 2:00 in the morning, and her name was Phyllis. And Phyllis told me that nobody is believing her. She's a former Jehovah's Witness, and she was really having a hard time. I thought she was going to commit suicide when I was talking to her on the phone. But Phyllis told me that, Rick, I wanted to call you and tell you because I believe you'll believe me because you know the Watchtower. She says, my husband, he would beat me up. He would make me black and blue, punch me all over. And I would go to the elders and I would tell the elders about him, and they would do nothing, zero. And she said that one night he took a broomstick and he raped her with a broomstick. That was when she was in her 40s. And she was so upset over that. I mean, her whole body was messed up for many, many years to come. It never got better. And she stayed married to the brother. For what reason, she didn't go into detail. I don't know why she did. But she was still married to him when she called me. And this man, still being a witness, the elders never did a thing to him, even though she went and told the elders what he did to her. They didn't do a thing. And as a matter of fact, she was a nurse and she'd go to work. And on the way back from work, she'd always see him out on the side of the street peddling magazines for the Watchtower. So stories like that, and it's stories like you guys have heard them before, from the woman Lauren up in Keego Harbor, Michigan, that killed her husband, her child, and her dog, and killed herself. Murder-suicide, because she was disfellowshipped. The Watchtower put so much stress in her life, she took her own life and the life of her family and her dog. Sad as can be. And the stories go on and on and on, and that's why I go down protest. And, a lot of people will say, well, Rick, what's another reason why you protest? I say, well, I don't want to give any more reasons, but I'm thinking you should be out here protesting with us. With all the evils that the Watchtower has caused, you should be protesting with us. But I know everybody can't do it, and I know it's not for everyone. But if you ever do get the chance to stand in front of a Kingdom Hall, by all means do that. Let me just take a little sip here, if you don't mind. Getting a little hoarse. Okay, so you know the popular saying about protesting, you've heard it before, a popular phrase, warning against complacency. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. So we got to do something. And that's all I know I can really do at this point, is do a broadcasting program like this and stand tall on the front lines in front of a Kingdom Hall. So what I noticed too the other night is there's, like I said, the numbers were down. I would say there was 30% less at the Kingdom Hall than the year before. The year before, I was down there as well, which had been 2022, and it was packed. I mean it. But this year, it wasn't packed. So there seems to be at least a decrease in memorial attendance numbers. And then I jumped online all this week and trying to talk to people all around the globe, so to speak, and getting information from them. What was your memorial numbers like? Was the attendance up? Was the attendance down? In most cases, it was down. Now, there were some congregations, and they told me, Rick, we had more people. But also what they did is they brought more congregations in. They merged more congregations, so it gave the illusion that, wow, look at all the people we got, there's more than ever. But they just added a couple more congregations. So that's the trick that the Watchtower's been using. So anyways, let's just talk about some numbers here, run some numbers by you, just to make it. Well, actually, I got some information from the United Kingdom. This got my attention. There's an assembly hall or an arena where they have actually 8 congregations that meet, and they all have the memorial together at this little arena. Now, the attendance for the 8 congregations was a total of 804 people, but only 600 were there. So there was a lot of empty seats, and the rest were online. So, a couple of hundred were online, and there was only, like I say, the attendance was, they roped off seats. They roped off seats so that, no one would sit there, and they didn't want to give the illusion that there wasn't a lot of seats filled. So these are the type reports that I have coming in. And also another report came in to me, and the man was saying that They had a lot of elderly people and also immigrants. Now, I never thought of that. But see, the Watchtower has really been pandering to the immigrants as well. And now I can really see they needed to get these numbers up. The Watchtower had to get these numbers up. Very, very important that they would do that. So from what I can see, there appears to be about from around the world and having people give me information that there seems to be 30 to 50% decrease of non-witness people who attended. Now listen to that carefully. There's a big percentage of non-witnesses that didn't go this year. That would be relatives, that would be friends of the witnesses. They did not go. And get a load of this. In some of these kingdom halls and arenas where they were holding the memorial, what do you think was one of the excuses? One of the excuses that the witnesses were telling each other, well, it's so interesting, one sister said, why there's not a lot of people here tonight. It's because the organization wasn't transparent about Tony. I mean, would that stop you from going to the meeting because the organization wasn't transparent about Tony Morris? I mean, there's all kinds of excuses, right, that the witnesses would come up with why there wasn't that many. But that was one of the excuses that they used. I couldn't believe it. I'm pretty sure the partakers went up, even though they did mention a lot of the witnesses were mentioning, according to some of the information coming in here to the 6 screens, a lot of the Jehovah's Witnesses were kind of silently talking to each other and saying, if we have, some people partaking tonight, it may be because they're mentally unstable. Isn't that a terrible thing to say? But they would say it. They will say it. So, yeah, I believe this could be the tipping point for the organization. I really, really do. I think that they're starting to really see that it's just not going to work like it used to work. Now, let me just run you some numbers here, just so you guys can get an idea, so that these numbers made sense to me. Back in 2022, there was 19.7 million people worldwide that attended the memorial for 2022. That's last year, right? So 19.7 million 2022. And there were 21,000 in 2022 that actually partook. So there you have that. And now, we're going to have to see what happens in 23. But 2022, the numbers started to roll back, because in 2021, they had more that went to the memorial than in 2022. Now, I must add that they didn't have a in-person memorial in 2021. It was all on Zoom. But in 2021, they had 21.4 million people worldwide that went to the memorial, and 20,700 people partook. So they had about 600 more partaking, but they had roughly a little more than 1.5 million that were less than the year before. Well, close to 2 million, actually. So the numbers were down. And what really, I'm thinking this time around, the numbers really should be up. But the reports I'm getting and what I saw the other night at the protest, the numbers aren't up. Now, and they had big campaign going. Do you guys remember that? We talked about it here on JW World News. They had a really big campaign going. They started talking about it in early February. And they said that March 2023, just last month, was going to be a very special month for Jehovah's Witnesses. Watchtower tried to get every Jehovah's Witness to do more in March to promote the memorial. And they even were willing to give the witnesses an opportunity to become an auxiliary pioneer. Yeah, you could become an auxiliary pioneer, and then relax the hours to just 15 hours a month so that you could pioneer during the month of March, so you could really promote the memorial. Now, they had to do this. Friends, they had to get more people. I'm going to be watching the numbers. Now, I know the Watchtower cooks the books. They really do. They'll even lie to the point of lying if they have to. But I'm going to tell you something. They have to get over 20. Here's the magic number. They have got to get over 19.7 million people. That's how many they had in 2022. So they got to go above that. They got to really do it, because I'll tell you why they got to do it. Well, they had that special campaign, but also that Hendricks, you know, that Jehovah's Witness infomercial spokesman that comes on with all of his propaganda. Well, he was saying that, you know, things were just wonderful in the organization. They've been taking these infomercials out all around the nation, little broadcasting news networks and small towns and newspapers. And he's been promulgating the idea that the witnesses, they're their message of the kingdom. Their chariot did not slow down because of COVID or anything. So these numbers better be good, or that Hendricks is a liar. Really, he would be. So I'm going to be watching for those numbers, and we're going to have to see. But I don't, realistically, they're not going to go over they're not going to go over the 19.7 million. Go ahead, run with us.
This is Chewy.
Yes, sure.
When I was in, they always used to hear the number that they wanted to double. They wanted to double the amount of publishers coming to the memorial. And I got word on the English side. My wife wouldn't tell me anything about the Spanish. She walked in mad, so I don't think they did too good either. But she said they had 80 persons there. And the publishers are, you know, they said they had 80 in total. That was at the attendance, and then what was on Zoom. And then, so they only got about 55, maybe 60 publishers. So they didn't get anywhere near the double. If they got 8 million, if they're saying they have 8 million and they got 19,000, that's double. Well, they didn't do that in that hall, and it wasn't anything near where they wanted to be at. So that's all I got.
Well, that's enough. That's good, Joey. Thank you for weighing in with us. So your wife didn't really say too much, but I'm sure if there was an overabundance of people, I mean, if the place was really rocking and rolling, jam-packed, you would have said something, I would think. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was watching her attitude. I'll let the other guy talk. Okay.
Sorry about that. I just watched Zoom at my sister's place. And 29 of us were counted on Zoom. I just want you to know that the memorial wasn't too bad for me per se. At least I got to see my family at my sister's place. And I also wanted to bring up Pennsylvania, because they better start selling their assembly halls. And the assembly halls are also a hotbed for pedophiles too.
Well, you're right, Guy. Well, thank you. Thank you for chiming in with us. Appreciate it, Guy. Appreciate it. Okay, who wants to speak up? Hit *6. Yes, go ahead. You're on with us.
Yeah, I was going to say I went around all the Kingdom Halls in my area, and parking lots were not full. So.
Yeah, well, that's good. Now, some parking lots, there were some Kingdom Halls that did get more people. So, but those are the ones that they brought more congregations into. So you had 2 congregations meeting. So they
Well, Rick, back in the 80s, 90s, they were full and people were parking on the streets.
Well, you're right, Jeff, because even myself, and you remember back in the 80s and 90s, and my wife and I back then had 5 little children, and I had to get to the memorial like close to an hour ahead of time, or I wouldn't find a seat for us all to sit together. But I didn't see, there was no standing people from what I could see the other day. There wasn't people in the back room from what I could see. So, I mean, before they'd have the back room full, they'd have people standing in the hallway, they'd have people standing out the door with the doors open. Not this time around, no.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff. So how about you? Did you get to the memorial? Did you hear what's going on? Go ahead, speak up to us. Hit *6. You're on with us. Go ahead, say hello to us. Yeah, I was really amazed, really amazed to see that it wasn't that crowded. We're seeing the Watchtower going downstream here. We really do. Okay, you're on with us. It looks like we got, I think it's Gilbert. Is it Gilbert? Go ahead, Gilbert.
Hey, Rick, when you did the protest, I was in the chat section telling people that the kids and the people in the back seat are smiling and giving you high fives. Because the protest 2 times, both times, it was just so nice to see the kids in the back seat, like giving you the high five, thumbs up, and you know they were reading jwfacts.org, you know, or .com.
Yeah.
But the point I'm trying to make is that you can't get discouraged. I'm just telling the people that are listening, because when you said, why do we do it? Because Jesus addressed this. You're a seed thrower. You're throwing seeds. You're not doing this for yourself. We all know that. You're a seed thrower, and we won't know. Maybe we will in the future. You know what seed sprouted, and that's the whole point. This is why we do this. Is because we're throwing seeds of truth. And it does pay off. And sometimes you don't see it, but I'm glad you mentioned that about the people that were giving you high fives. And that should encourage people. If you decide to do protests, don't get discouraged.
Well, there you go. You're a protesting man yourself, Gilbert. And I'll tell you what, it amazes me, and I'm sure you saw some people too when you were protesting out there in California. I'm sure when you went to your protest, there's people that they get it. They're PMOs. They're physically and mentally out, and they're looking at you, and they're smiling. And, you know, first of all, I can tell the witnesses that were PMEs, those physically and mentally in. I mean, they wouldn't even look, or if they did look, they gave me a dirty look. But if someone comes by smiling at you in a car and, you know, shaking the head up and down, then that's a person that's got it. They know that this is the wrong organization. But what are they going to do? They're stuck in it. Thank you, Gilbert. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I thought it was all fascinating. So the numbers were down here in Wilmington. The numbers are down most places around the world. The Watchtower really now is in a very peculiar moment in their history. They've got to really do something to keep people in. There's more people leaving, going out the back door than coming in the front door. The Watchtower organization is dwindling down. And I'm just going to give you some thoughts here, and I can say that with full conviction. The Watchtower organization is dwindling down. And why do I say that? Well, the people that are reporting into the 6 screens this week, they were looking around at the composition of the congregation. You say, well, what does that mean? Well, the demographics. Well, the young ones, old ones. So anyways, most of the people reporting to me this week, they say the vast majority of the people at the Kingdom Hall Memorial this year were baby boomers. Although that's you and me. Well, maybe not all of you and me, but there's some out there that aren't baby boomers. But most of the people I think listening in are. Now, the baby boomers, they made up most of the people. They said that most of the people, I don't know, 90, 80, I don't know what percentage you give it, but most of the people they said were baby boomers. And what that soon they're going to be dead. I mean, we're all getting old, right? So what's going to happen then? And then the Gen Xers, well, they're not there. They're just, maybe they're listening in on Zoom or phoning in on the tie line. But the Gen Xers, they're not involved with it. And the millennials, oh, they're practically non-existent at the Kingdom Hall. They're not going to the Kingdom Hall. They figured this all out. So what we see here is an average congregation. From what I can see, I'm going to jump out on a limb here and say, I'd say there's 30% less from the information coming in here, 30% less people this time around. You know, you can't have an organization that has got 30% less and it's tanking. It's going to fizzle away soon because people are going to start asking, where's Sister Smith? Where's Brother Loyal? And how about Brother Zesty? Where is he? and they're going to be asking these questions. And there's not going to, and many will leave on the basis of not seeing the ones that used to be there. So that's all changing. So it's amazing that we're seeing this happen, and we're seeing the demise of the Watchtower, and it's happening right in front of our face. So we know the young ones. I didn't see, in fact, yes. Go ahead.
Isn't it supposed to happen this way for the Watchtower? Isn't that Watchtower tarot card a divination card? That the Watchtower in its esoteric occult function, it's the law of opposites, so that when they do pass the wine and they do pass the bread, that they're denying Christ and that they don't have the cross and they work for the fall of Christendom. But what this all is, it's a power source, so that when you work a Ouija board, it works for you. Or when you work water witching with like the water pole, it works for you. When you work a radionic box or a telephone device, that it responds to you. It's to make an army of people who have rejected Christ in their spirit, unbeknownst to them, but it gives them that resonance that they have rejected Christ. And it's not just the Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormons, the Nation of Islam, even Catholicism, when they do the upside down cross over themselves, when they eat a meal, and then they light a candle, and they go pray to dead saints. We know what that is. The Watchtower is a different flavor of that. These are all structured out of the same things, the Seventh-day Adventist and the Christian Science. They all spring from Masonry. Masonry is a school for scoundrels. And this country itself, America itself, created by Masons, George Washington himself, the Washington Monument being an obelisk, it goes back to sex magic. The obelisk is also a Staros. And that's how it's baked into the Witnesses. The Witnesses' doctrine is based on Kabbalah. I'm sure Springmeyer is going to go over a lot of this stuff. And I just pray that you look up Robert Clancy on YouTube. He has prayers that you can renounce and rebuke and break the yokes of bondage, the spiritual yokes. When you become a Jehovah's Witness, you're putting bondage on yourself, unknown to you. This whole country, and in fact, all the governments in the countries are based on these esoteric occult practices. Just like in Machu Picchu, Peru, when they killed all these people, like, what are they doing it for? It's for astral projection. You can go to Mars if you have an out-of-body experience. You can go up there, but you got to kill a lot of people to get there.
Well, no doubt. Okay. I mean, we got Fritz. Well, thank you for bringing that up. But we do have Fritz coming on tonight with us. After this particular broadcast, we have Fritz Springmeyer. He's going to come on tonight.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. You're on with us.
You got to say the prayers.
Yeah.
God bless, Rick.
I'll check it out. Thank you.
Mr. Stern.
Yeah, that's me.
Mr. Stern, hi. I'm a first-time caller.
Well, thank you for calling in.
I'm calling from Oregon.
Yeah, thank you.
So I just wanted to make the point about PEMOS. I guess everyone is calling it PEMOS. Is that right? Physically in?
Yeah, physically in, mentally out. Yeah.
Well, I mean, people stay in this organization because they don't want to leave their families. But, you know, it's just, I just want to make the point that their families are going to, they never cultivate that deep bond of love in a relationship. And it's just not worth it, I think. I mean, you know, all the effort and heartache of staying in. I think that until your family members come out of the organization, you're never going to have the relationship that you want to have with them. It's never going to be a
a trusting, loving relationship. It's always going to be based on how you perform in the organization. You're always going to be policed by members of your family and your friends, and because they put the organization above everything else. And I'm just trying to find the right words, but
Well, that's all right. Just slow down and let me ask you a couple questions.
yeah.
All right. So how long have you been out? Are you kind of still going along with it or what?
No, I have been out for almost 2 years, and I was in for almost 30 years.
Wow.
And so I'm kind of new with well, not really new. 2 years is a long time to be out, but I thought I could do the chemo thing, and it is really based on being a good at, and I couldn't do it. And so I lasted 4 months, and then I finally disassociated because I couldn't do it anymore. And I just wanted to be out of the organization. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. But I do understand that people want to preserve their family relationships. I understand that. But it's just, these relationships are, they're very superficial. Even for, all-in Jehovah's Witness, they're based on how you perform in the organization. If you're regular in service, if you're commenting, if you're doing it, everything that they expect you to do in your performance as a Jehovah's Witness. If you don't do it, your relationship's going to suffer anyway. So.
Well, you're absolutely right. You're right. You're absolutely right, sister. But I'm glad that you got out of that organization. I'm glad you called in here tonight. I mean, all of us feel the same way you do. We all seem like we're related somehow, all being involved with that organization. But so what's the thing that really got you out, would you say?
Well, it's funny. I hear a lot of people talking about, with it's the process. But for me, it was not a process. It was a very sudden and unexpected exit. And with me, it happened during a Zoom meeting when we were still all at Zoom. And one of the elders was the elder that I really admired a lot and I considered a friend. He raised his hand during a commenting part of the meeting and said that he felt Zoom was superior to in-person meetings, and that letter writing was superior to door-to-door. And then he gave his reasons why. And when he said that, I was shocked because I was really suffering under the Zoom arrangement. In fact, it was in my congregation. There were many sisters who didn't even want to do play cards or go to a movie or watch something on TV. They were afraid, and they were barricading themselves in their houses and under the direction of elders. And so it was a very difficult time. And then when he made that comment, it shocked me. It shocked me out of the organization. So it was a very sudden, unexpected exit. And then after that comment, after that night at the Zoom meeting, after that, it was about 2 or 3 days, I started to examine Watchtower's history. And 4 months later, I would disassociate. So I was very active and I never had problems with the organization. Looking back, well, hindsight is 20/20, of course. Looking back, I can give you many examples that should have propelled me out and should have propelled anybody out. But at the time, I will, you know, I'm sure everybody can say the same thing. At the time, I was just completely deluded. So, yeah, that's how I ended up leaving. It wasn't any kind of a process. It was just.
Wow, that was the frosting on the cake. Those Zoom meetings and writing letters, that was boring. Well, I thank you, sister.
Oh, it's terrible.
I thank you for coming in tonight. Boy, one of these times, now, why don't you write me at jwworldnews@gmail.com. jwworldnews@gmail.com, and just say I was a sister that listened in to the program, and I would like to have you come on sometime. We have an opening and can tell your whole story. How would that be?
I would love it. I mean, I've got some very interesting experiences that I went through as a witness.
Yeah, well, we'll let you take the time and have you tell us all about it. We really, really would. So you go ahead. What was your name again?
My name is Kim.
Kim. All right, Kim. And you said you're calling in from where?
Oregon.
Oregon. Well, very good, Kim. Thank you very much for coming into yeah.
Mr. Perrin.
Yes.
It's pronounced Oregon.
I know. I always that's a Boston way of saying it.
I know. It's okay.
I know.
Can I ask one last question?
Sure.
When is Springmeyer coming on?
He's coming on tonight in about a half hour.
Okay.
You like Fritz?
Okay.
Yeah, he's
yes,
good.
I do. I crossed his path in my research about 8 months after I disassociated. I came upon his writings and his research, and so I have some questions for Mr. Springmeyer, and I've written them down.
Good.
And I'm hoping I can call in and ask, and he would give me a good answer. I'm sure he will.
Oh yeah, well you stay tuned because we're gonna he's gonna come on first of all. In fact, the first thing he's gonna do is he's gonna be on for 3 hours with us. So he's gonna talk about he's gonna be talking about a number of things, and we're gonna have questions and answers. So he'll be on at 9 o'clock tonight. So he'll love to know you're on there, and I'll let him know you're gonna be asking some questions. So he'll love that.
Okay, great. Well, I'm calling when it's time for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thanks for coming into Six Screens. Yes.
Hey, Rick.
Yes, go ahead.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Yep, bye. Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah. I was going to say, Rick, hey, don't take it from me. I've done several programs, Six Screens. Don't take it from me or you. I want all these folks to get on Google, Bing, whatever you do your research. Do your research on this organization. And that's all I got to say, folks.
Well, that's it. You said a mouthful there. That's what I asked him to do. Thank you, Jeff. Well, anyways, we do have Fritz coming up at about 9 o'clock, about 20 minutes from now. So we're looking forward to that. But I got a couple of other stories I wanted to talk to you about. We get letters from Atlantis. He's that secret man in the organization that sends he sends them to Mike and Kim too, and he also sends them here to me. But we get the secret letters, the elders' letters, and what are they getting? And so Atlantis sends them to us. But this one in April, this month, just a few days ago, I got it, and it really, man, I'm going to tell you, you know the Watchtower is hypocrites, don't you? I don't have to tell you that. You know that they're every bad name in the book you can think of, they are it. But they're hypocrites too. And the reason why I say they're hypocrites is what they're looking for. I'm not going to read the letter here tonight, don't have time. But I'm just going to paraphrase, or at least give you what I got from it. So the organization right now, what they're looking for, they need CPA accountants. They need lawyers that deal with real estate. They need lawyers that deal with numbers and trademark issuance and all kinds of things. And of course, they didn't mention defense attorneys for defending them, but I'm sure that's part of what they're looking for, to defend their lawsuits. But they're asking in this letter that, if there's anyone in the congregations that has these positions in life and can work with the Watchtower, attorneys, lawyers, come forward, accountants, and be able to help them. Well, What do you think of that? What do you think of that? How many people listening to this program tonight sacrificed your education for the organization because you knew Armageddon? At least they told you Armageddon is coming down the pike. How many people on here tonight never went to school, but here we have the Watchtower looking for people that have gone to school, got a degree, and now can help them. In other words, what the Watchtower is saying, we need people who have disobeyed us by getting further education, right? You want to talk about hypocrites. So they want people who went ahead and got further education now, even though they chastised them when they probably did. But now we need you. What a two-faced organization, I tell you. So, now they're looking for people that didn't want to obey the Watchtower. And now they have a skill because they were willing to go to school and get it. And now the Watchtower wants to snap them out of their career and bring them to Watchtower. In fact, so many people on the program tonight were told, why really go through and get a career? Why go to school and get an education? Armageddon's coming and it's right around the corner. And didn't they used to say, one of the circuit overseers I can always remember, brothers and sisters, he said, why would you be wanting to rearrange the furniture on the Titanic? Well, it's an illustration he used. The Titanic's going down. So why bother rearranging the furniture? But in essence, that's what they always said to us. Just hang on. Don't get married. Don't have children. Don't go to school. Don't have a career. Come with us. Stay with Jehovah. He'll protect you. Well, I'll tell you what, it's really coming back now and biting the organization right in the rear end that they cause so many Jehovah's Witnesses to be in poverty. Lots of Jehovah's Witnesses are very, very poor. Not all, but many are poor because they follow the dictates of the Watchtower. Now, you take a look at Scientology. They're rich and famous. Look at the movie stars. Well, Tom Cruise, he was a Scientologist for a while. Plus, they have a bunch of, I also believe John Travolta was a Scientologist. So those guys brought money in. Scientology is a cult for the rich and famous. And Mormonism. Wow, if you're a Mormon, you're really like in the upper class of cults. This is Brigham Young University. They encourage education. So here we have the Mormons, Scientology. They got people in their organization that have a lot of money. Jehovah's Witnesses, my goodness gracious, they're poor and ignorant. And the Watchtower made them like that. So now when the Watchtower really is begging for money, they're not getting as much as they can get. So that's just what I'm thinking. So how much longer is this all going to be able to continue on? I don't think it's going to continue because right now there's so many elders that are stepping down. Reports coming into the 6 screens is really showing that elders are getting burnt out. They don't want to be elders anymore. I'm seeing that they're depressed. Yes, the elders are getting depressed. There's a lack of younger brothers that are wanting to reach out for privileges, that they're not there. And they used to be able to handle some of the load. Younger brothers would become ministerial servants and young elders, but they're not there. So Watchtower wants the elders to fix this problem. Come on, you guys, get working harder. Get some of these young men going. Let's get them appointed. But the young men don't want it. So how long is this going to go on before the elders reach a breaking point? They're right at that breaking point right now. As a matter of fact, there's elders that are having severe emotional problems, such as depression, anxiety, panic attacks. All types of pressure is being put on the elders. And some of them are becoming alcoholics. But the problem is it's more they're eating because of their unhappiness, and they're taking in too much food. A lot of the elders are getting very heavy from what reports have been telling me. So I'm just saying in advance here that there's a big problem coming up on the horizon for Jehovah's Witnesses and getting people to want to become elders, getting them to want to reach out. And all of these things seem to be hitting the Watchtower all at the same time. How much? I'm not looking through rose-colored glasses here, brothers and sisters out there listening in. I just use that in the vernacular, where we're all in this together. And in essence, we're like brothers and sisters, right? Because we all know who Mother was at one time. That was the Watchtower. So anyways, what do you guys got to say about that? What are you hearing? What are you hearing? You're hearing about elders getting depressed? What are you hearing out there? I'd like to hear from what you guys are hearing. You guys are reading on Facebook. You're reading different forums. Go ahead, speak up, hit *6. Let us know what's on your mind. We'll love to talk to you. Yeah, it's just amazing to me that we have all of this news coming in. It's always negative. There's not a lot of good news lately that's going on in the Watchtower. There really, really isn't. And even in Japan, we've been talking about that. I mean, we could go on here all night long and talk about the countries. Japan is another country that's coming down on the Jehovah's Witnesses. Japan is all upset with the Jehovah's Witnesses because Japan realizes they use corporal punishment. And a lot of kids who are Jehovah's Witness children have grown up and they said that they were beaten to a pulp when they were younger. So Japan's looking into the witnesses. We've got Northern Michigan. Go ahead. We got Michigan. Come on in.
Yeah, hello, Mr. Fair.
Yes.
Yeah, I got two things to comment about over here. I drove by a Kingdom Hall. I'm not going to disclose the location, but I drove by a Kingdom Hall at about 20 miles down the road from where I'm right now in the Upper Peninsula. And last time around, I think they had about 30 to 35 cars there on Memorial Night. Tonight, they only had about between 20 and 12. This time around, they had 20 to 22. So they're taking down here and so forth. And I've got a comment on, well, I appreciate the information you brought there on the Watchtower Society wanting attorneys and everything like that and so forth. You know, the Watchtower Society at one time has been the only religious organization that had multiple attorneys working for them. Why do you need an attorney? You know, my suggestion to the Watchtower Society is try to be a law-abiding citizen instead of putting yourself above the law of the land, above the Constitution of the land, and violating people's civil rights and human rights and committing felonies. Why don't you try being a law-abiding citizen? You won't need to hire any attorneys.
Well, exactly right. You don't need an attorney if you're following, at least a defense attorney. You don't need a defense attorney if you're doing things right. But, you know, they get me very irritated where they want to hire, they're not hiring them. They give them diddly, they give them nothing, but they want them to give up their careers and come and work with them. That is foolish, Ken. That is foolish.
Yes, it absolutely is. So, yeah.
What you want to say, Guy? Go ahead, Guy.
Okay, we got another caller coming in. I guess let's take this other caller.
Thank you. Go ahead, Guy. What's up?
Sure. I wanted to bring out Mikey Kim because I just watched their video and Kim is saying that she's done with the activism, and it has to do with the thing with Lloyd Evans being in Budapest for vacation. So,
well, I didn't see the video, but what are you saying? Kim and Mike have had it, or what?
it appears that they're giving up on the activism and stuff. It appears that they're giving up. So we need to keep them in our thoughts and prayers, so to speak. And
yeah, well, I mean,
they have done a lot for you all.
Yeah. Well, no doubt. I mean, it's not easy though being an activist. You know, I've been doing this now myself, and I can see what they're probably saying. I've been doing this now for 16 years. This is actually the 17th year, and I've been every Saturday night, and it just doesn't happen. someone's going to put this together. I spend, hours and hours and hours, 20, 25 hours a week, putting a program like this together to give the news and get the video clips up and put it all together. Plus, it costs a lot of money to do this, but I'm not looking for money. Don't anybody send any money here. I'm not looking for money, believe me. But
We won't.
okay, so
Another thing I wanted to point out is that the April JW broadcast is talking about making good, wise decisions. And JW thoughts, Wally, he made commentary video about that and how they should apply their own advice, and it also guilt trips families into serving foreign language fields. And foreign language fields are not doing too good either.
yeah, well, they're kind of giving up on all of that, guy. But no, thank you for mentioning that about Kim and Mikey, and we'll see what happens with them. But they put a lot of work into their programs too, and it takes a lot of time out of a person's life. So we'll hopefully let them do what they want to do. They do help people, but at some point,
Hey, Rick.
you don't want to hold on, Jeff. Just hold on. Yeah, at some point, you don't want to. You don't want to be totally discouraged, but it can be discouraging. It can be discouraging. I know they get a lot of flack, like I get a lot of flack, and at some point you say, "Geez, why even do that?" But we'll see what happens with them, and we do wish them all the best. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I was going to say with Lloyd Evans, if you are not giving him money, contributing him, he has nothing to do with you, and he does not, when you make a comment, he won't respond and everything else. I'm just saying that. So, I've dealt with him a little bit before, so there you go.
Well, no, I understand. He sometimes rubs people the wrong way. We've had him on our broadcast before. He's been on with us.
I know he has, but
yeah. So
go ahead.
yeah. So, but the point would be, I mean, he works hard too, and he's pretty good at it. So we'll see what happens with him. I'm not sure what's going to go on in his life.
Whoa.
Okay.
Well, he does a good job.
He does good. I'm not
I'm
not gonna beat him up. I mean, he does good. I mean, people have different thoughts on him, but I think he's pretty good. He's pretty good. Yeah. So we'll let it go with that. We got another call coming in. Yes, go ahead. I think it's Jimmy Bell. Yes, Jimmy.
Hey, Rick. How you doing, buddy? You doing all right tonight?
Oh, fine tonight. Yes.
All right, good. Hey, I wanted to give you an update on the Kim and Mikey situation this evening. I speak to them pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And I know what's going on. The reason why Kim and Mikey are frustrated is because they've worked really hard over the years to show people what cult-like behavior looks like. Now, I've done the same thing. I've explained when I was doing my Watchtower stuff, I was explaining what cult-like behavior is, what these people do to control the minds of basically their prey. And, we talk about the bite model and associate that with Watchtower. But if we also look at the XJW community, I have had experiences in this community where people have, let me say this in the nicest way possible, have not washed the indoctrination out of their brains. They want someone to do their thinking for them. They want someone to follow. And a lot of the folks that do leave Watchtower, they end up going towards the left liberal side of the thing. Now, that's their choice, whatever. But the thing is, if you look at the tactics that Lloyd uses, he is basically developing his own cult. Now, I know people are going to say, well, he's done so much good for waking people up out of Watchtower. Yeah, okay, but he's also controlled opposition. I believe he's controlled opposition from Watchtower. He's making $90,000. He made $90,000 last year, and he's still asking for money. if you watch the video that he did the other night and pretend that it's one of the governing body members talking, how would you feel about that video then? So I have told people from the I've been telling people this for 3 years. Be careful who you follow in the XJW community. Are they there for your interest? Are they there for their own? And anybody making money like he does, now I know folks make a little money off their channels and everything. That's why I never took a dime for anything that I do. But you got to look and see what is the motivating factor for the individual and why are they doing what they're doing. That's all I got to say.
Well, no, that's a mouthful, Jimmy, and I do agree with you. What we have here is, we have a lot of people that are leaving the Watchtower. Now, when I was leaving, I didn't have to pay anybody. They were willing to spend the time and tell me things without me having to spend a dime. So I appreciate all those people, Silent Lambs and Watchtower Information Service and Randy Waters with his Free Minds. All of these people, I got out of the Watchtower from listening to them. But I'll tell you what, it's, see, when you put money involved, and that's why I say, don't send money here. Don't send money here, because people now are going to expect, if people sent money here, oh, I'm rolling in the dough, I'm making 90 grand a year, whatever. Well, what happens is I have to keep making every program better and better and better. And people have a right, especially if they're paying for it. If you're paying for cable TV, for example, those programs better be good. If they're not, I'm not watching, So, yeah. So that's how I feel.
And I know there's a lot of, and for me personally, I mean, I've been blocked off all of his platforms because I called him out 3 years ago. And there's other people, we just had a caller a second ago, says they've had run-ins with him. And if you don't agree with his opinion, then you're blocked from every platform that he has. So that's basically censoring those that go against him. So, I mean, personally, I could care less what he does in his private life, but my problem is taking advantage of a community that has been hurt by an organization that doesn't give a flying flip about their people. And he's following in that footstep. So people just need to be careful about who they give their money to and who they follow. That's all.
Well, that's good admonition. That's very good admonition, Jimmy. I'm on your camp.
Hey,
Rick. Hold on, Jeff. But we do have some other. Jeff, hold on now. Listen, you got to let other people respond. Now you responded a lot tonight. Let's go. We got Gilbert out there, and we have to let other people talk. So let's go to Gilbert in Arizona. Go ahead, Gilbert.
This is Albert.
Oh, it's Albert. Okay, I got the wrong. Okay, go ahead. What do you think, Albert?
Yeah, I think that look, you may have your differences with Lloyd, but it's a good show because the stuff is right dead back on the nose.
Come closer to your phone, Albert. Albert, come closer to your phone.
I got a lot. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, come as close as you can. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that we got to put our personal personalities aside. Boyd is doing a good job. I think he does a great job. I don't care what he does, what he leaves the mic, what he does there. That doesn't bother me. What he does, he's a lot of information.
Hey, and we're having a hard time. We're having a hard time with your volume on your phone. Yeah.
Hold on.
Well, do it right. Well, there you go. Do it right in the first place. Yeah.
Yeah. You can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that we need Lloyd, just like we need you, Rick. You're doing a great job, and even though you don't ask for money, but look what the organization's doing. Look how many lives they're ruining, and they get money and they do whatever they want with it. What I'm saying is that we need him. We need Lloyd to stay on the air because this has to end. And I know that gentleman's upset because of what Lloyd does on his own time, but that's what he does in his own time is what he does.
Well, you made a statement. You made a statement there, Albert, that makes sense to me. We do. We need as many apostates as we can get. I mean, really, they're part of our army, even though we might not agree with certain things they do. I'm willing to take anybody.
And Rick,
Yeah.
look at the time he's putting in. Look at the equipment, the time. He's getting stuff that we couldn't even dream of getting. He's given me so much ammunition. It's helping me so much that I would hate for him to leave, just like I would hate for you to leave. Even Mike and Mickey, Mike, I love these guys. We need you all, okay? We just have to put the personal stuff aside and let's just, let's get it done.
Yes. Yeah, hold on 1 second, folks. I got a call coming. Go ahead, good sir. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you guys are talking about right now because I can't get you live on YouTube.
Well, I mean, what can I do for you, man? I'm on the air. What would you want?
Oh no, I just enjoyed your signs in front of the.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, but I'm on the air right now. Why don't you call me back tomorrow sometime when I'm off the air? I'm on the air right now, so I can't talk.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Rick.
So go ahead and do that. Go ahead. Thank you, sir. Call me tomorrow. Yep. Thank you.
All right.
All right. Yeah. No, people call me if I want to. All right. So go ahead, Jeff. I'm going to have you wrap.
All right.
Wrap the program up, Jeff.
Yes, sir. I was thinking about.
Yeah, your phone is breaking up. Jeff, get your phone. Jeff, your phone is breaking up. I don't know why it does it all the time, but you gotta get that phone fixed.
Okay. Hear me now.
Go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. Lord Evans does a lot for the JW community. But if you contact him and you're not giving him money as far as previous, he don't talk to you.
Yeah. Well, we heard that. So
Yeah,
we're not going to beat that to death. Let him go. He's got enough problems. So just let the guy go for now. All right, Jeff. Thank you.
No. I'm not putting him down. I don't care about the guy's personal life. It's just that the stuff that he's getting on the fund me. That's a bunch of bullshit.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's let it go with that. All right.
Anyway.
I just want to ask, is Fritz Springmeyer on with us? Fritz, if you're on, hit *6. Say hello to us. Fritz Springmeyer, you on there with us? Hit *6.
Hello.
Yes, Fritz, I guess you're on with us. So there you are. So you hang in. We're going to get you on just a couple of minutes. We're going to end this program here and start yours, okay?
Okay. I'm waiting.
Well, I'll tell you what, because people are getting all excited. So you hang in and we'll be in and just give us a couple of minutes. We'll wrap this up and get to you. All right. So Fritz is ready to go as well. We want to tell everyone, thank you for coming into the program tonight. We really appreciate you coming into JW World News. A lot of things going on, not only in the witness world, but evidently in the ex-witness world as well. But we'll just take one day at a time and work with all of that. We have a program coming up next. Did you ever read the book, The Bloodlines of the...
I had a real quick comment for that. The guy.
Well, hold on. Listen, I'm not going to take no comments. I'm wrapping a show up. How can I take a comment when I'm wrapping a show up? All right, so let's let it go with that, okay? Please understand what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to keep an organized program. How can I keep an organized program when I'm trying to do things and people are coming in? I mean, I'm not beating you guys up, but come on, cut me some slack. All right. So anyways, we've got a program coming up next, so be with us. But I just want to say thank you for coming into JW World News tonight. But now you're right up to date on what's going on behind the curtains of the Watchtower. And, if you guys like the program, if you like what you see here tonight, why don't you subscribe to the channel? Well, why don't you share it on Facebook? We're on a number of different platforms. So why don't you do that for us? But you know what would really be a good thing? If I could ever get everybody on this network to just follow instructions on the phone line. If I could ever get people to do that, you know, you hit *6 to come in, and you hit *6 when you're done. I know I'm listening to all kinds of people talking in the background. If you want to help me, I don't want you to send money. If you want, I'm going to tell you what you do if you want to help me. If you want to help the 6 screens go forward and continue to expose the Watchtower, work with that on the phone, would you please? When you speak up, hit *6. Unmute. That's how you unmute yourself. When you're done speaking, hit *6 again. That mutes you. And the other thing is, don't send no money here. I tell you that all the time. What you could do for me is subscribe to our channel. Let other people see. We don't have ads on there. Nobody's making a penny. So, you know, I'm not begging you to subscribe. But if you like what we do here at the 6 screens, it's going to reach more and more people. Subscribe, Facebook, share, like. It gets more people listening in. More people will leave the Watchtower because of listening to this program. That's what you could do for me. Well, thank you for coming in tonight and being with us here on the 6 screens. We really appreciate it. And we always say this, the last one. Now, one other thing too, I'm sorry. We do have a 6 screen Sunday tomorrow. So, you know, we don't talk about spirituality here on Saturday night. We don't get into it at all. But on Sunday, we do. Sunday, we do. Sunday, we get into theological teachings from the Watchtower. So why don't you join us tomorrow, Sunday, beginning at 12 o'clock, actually 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock tomorrow, the Knowing God program right here on the 6 screens telenetwork. And we have a number of programs tomorrow. So by all means, listen in. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. And the last one.
Hello, Rick.
Yes.
Hello, Rick. Sorry.
Yeah, just
Fran, we just got on. We just wanted to say hello from California.
Well, very good, Fran. Yeah, I wish we had a little more time. If you would have came in a little early, I could have had you.
Okay.
I would have had you guys come on and tell.
Okay.
All right. I would have had you guys come on and tell your story, but we were moving. Thank you very much. And we hope all is safe for you guys. But we're moving to another program now. So, I will thank you, Fran. I appreciate it. Yep. All right. So we got a lot of people listening in tonight. So that's good. And we wish Fran and Joe, they're on a trip. They're meeting a lot of people, but we wish we had more time. Maybe later on one of the programs, if they're still on with us, we can talk about it. But we do have Fritz. He's all lined up. He's coming on next. Fritz Springmeyer coming up next right here on the 6 screens telenetwork. Stay with us. We're going to end this program right here, and we're going to go to the next program.